You know, this is a very special event for me. Every decade, the Game Masters descend from the heavens to deliver a special gift that will allow me to play the very same game, except in the latest Nintendo console. Mike Tyson and Mr. Dream? Well, I won't go into too much detail on how they did it, but they actually gave birth to my scrawny S back in 1984. This is a beautiful title, and I still play the original simplistic game even now. Yeah, life is good. Thanks, Nintendo.
Alright, I will not join the choir on this one as much as probably everyone wants me to, although it is interesting to analyze just who this game is made for. While new fans might be brought in, I guess, I'm almost 100% sure that this game is made for the 20-somethings who just so happened to fall in love with this game back when the original was relevant. Oh, and the Nintendo files too, but whatever. Here is what Punch-Out is. It is not what we think of when we think of what a boxing game would, or perhaps even should be. Punch-Out is more of a puzzle game where each fighter you fight against in the story mode's 12 or so characters has a completely different moveset. You go into each fight having no idea what you're in store for. Unless, of course, you've played the others, in which these characters contain the same movesets, basically. Assuming you're new, you have to learn the enemy's patterns. The enemy starts one of about 5 animations. From the starting animation, you need to figure out what the response should be. There are typically about 2 preferable responses you can give. Often it is either dodging a certain way or attacking a certain way. The game is simplistic though in that you can only dodge back, left, or right, while you can only attack with a left or right hook, or left or right straight. Oh, and then of course your special Star Punch. Punch-Out breaks down into a very simplistic puzzle game where you must figure out what the proper responses are and then use lightning-fast reflexes to respond correctly. For those not drenched in nostalgia, here is the question that arises. Is this too simplistic? Also, is this simplistic, but then do all games feature this simplicity? Take Street Fighter 4 for example, when random jackass Ken, online of course, decides to toss a random hurricane kick, the proper response is to duck and then counter with an uppercut style move, typically. Most attacks have proper responses and a lot of the game features the same rock paper scissors mechanics. However, Punch-Out I would say is one further step towards simplicity. There are no mind games in Punch-Out. You cannot put your opponent under pressure by throwing a lot of jabs. The fact that you're fighting against computer AI is not transparent at all. Your second punch intending to pressure the opponent will always be dodged and countered. You did not dial in the proper sequence of punches to match the particular enemy's tendencies. The objective of the game is to essentially exploit the computer AI that does not even contain the notion at all of having a semblance of emotion. Yeah, I know, Punch-Out is not Street Fighter 4. Truly shocking, you do not need to remind me incessantly in the comments. However, the point of this all is to let the people who aren't already in love with the series know that Street Fighter 4 is more of a boxing game than Punch-Out, while Punch-Out is more of a puzzle and reflex game than a boxing game. If you aren't already blindly in love with the series, you probably don't already know this. Hence why I'm actually reviewing the game in this review, as opposed to many other reviews. So is it valid to enjoy a simplistic game? Sure, why not? Not every game needs to push innovation to the edge at every second of the day. However, this video game will draw a clear line in the sand between people who love its simplicity and those who consider it way too simple for its own good and want more depth. Everyone's mileage just might particularly vary. Alright, I'll level with you all. I understand that this review is a little off base with how a review should theoretically be typically done, but I believe it's important to point out to the world what this game specifically isn't. While every review I've seen, fan or professional, has treated this game like gold, saying how much it lives up to their dreams of playing the original game with the same exact gameplay model, with an entire cast of repeat characters featuring the very same movesets, except with 3D graphics. Although this may be hard to understand, if you did not grow up with this game back when it was relevant, you probably won't get nearly as much enjoyment out of it as everyone else. What did I actually think of this game? It was fun for a while, but after I beat the initial characters, defending the belt against everyone for a second time, though a bit harder, became a chore. I did grow up during a time where this style of gameplay was more prevalent, so conquering the game's ultimate simplicity was pretty fun in a going back to my roots sort of way, but really it was hard for me to truly care all that much. Everyone, I'm sorry to say this, but I was just never that big of a fan of the older titles. I just sort of found myself wanting to play other games. Enjoy if you love the previous games, tread carefully if you didn't. Nothing more needs to be said. Heil Nintendo. 6 out of 10.